Just interested to know what you think are the sort of key upside and downside risks for global demand, crude demand, going through the final quarter of 2015.
Well, the upside risk on the demand side is I think, mainly related to economic growth. Do we see kind of a dramatic improvement in places like China, Europe, continuation of growth in the United States? That always helps on the demand side. The biggest risk to the downside on demand is, in a sense, the opposite of that. Economic recessions tend to be very devastating to oil demand, and if we were to see banking system problems in China leading to slower growth there, or reaction to the issues surrounding the Fed and interest rates in the United States leading to worries about growth, that could be an issue.
Okay. There's been a lot of interest in China recently, particularly following August's stock market crash. I don't know if we've seen that really feed into oil demand just yet in China. I just wonder how that's affecting your forecast and when you think you'll expect to see that creeping in.
In the United States, the stock markets have historically been fairly good leading indicators of economic activity. The situation in China is really not quite there yet. The ownership in the stock market in China is fairly thin, and despite the huge decline that they had in stock market valuation in China, I think it's still higher than where it was at the beginning of the year. So the filtering through of the stock market volatility in China to energy demand or oil demand is not as direct as in the United States and other parts of the world.
Okay. And impact on global demand, do you expect it to see a significant dent at all over the next sort of 6 months or so?
Well, I think that the biggest factor over the course of the next 6 months is the fact that prices are lower now than where they were last year at this time. As we move out further into 2016, I think the key issue is going to be the economic growth and how policies on things like fuel efficiency standards and fuel subsidies play out.
Okay. It's interesting you bring up fuel efficiency, particularly in the context of recent news on Volkswagen. You've got some interesting opinions on how you think that might play out in diesel demand and crude demand going forward. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, at the margin, diesel engines consume less fuel than gasoline engines. So if the results of the VW situation is a move towards gasoline rather than diesel light-duty vehicles, it could add a little bit of upward strength to crude oil demand simply because of the impact that it would have on mileage.
Okay. Also, we're moving towards Paris now and the talks on climate change. I'm wondering if you think there's any sort of key policies that could have implications for global demand going forward, global crude demand going forward. Anything you've got your eye on particularly that you think could have a big impact in the sort of medium term?
Well, one of the things that EIA looked at was the impact of the Clean Power Plan proposal on energy in the U.S. And our conclusion is that it would ultimately improve the growth rates in renewables like solar and wind, and it would tend to take away the market share held by coal. We had about a 1/3 decline in coal consumption in the U.S. from the impacts of the Clean Power Plan over the period out to 2040. That's one of the issues that policymakers are looking at. As you know, EIA is a statistical agency and we don't take policy positions, so what really happens in Paris is something that we'll be keenly observing but not making recommendations on.
Okay, great, thanks. And just finally, just to wrap up, hopefully you're staying for the duration of the conference. I'm wondering what, for you personally, what have been the key takeaways really from the sessions so far that you've seen?
Well, I think that the session on what was happening to crude oil production in the U.S. Was really interesting. So you've seen a kind of a wide range of views there, and there's also a wide range of views on how much oil Iran could actually produce. once the sanctions are removed, or if the sanctions are removed, as we go out into next year. And I think that that debate is likely to continue over the course of the next 6 months, and hearing these opinions is I think, very valuable, and it's a great reason to come to Oil and Money.
Do you think you're any closer to knowing the answer?
We're always searching for the for the right answers. Answers are elusive, and it seems as though circumstances continue to change to fool even the best of forecasters.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We do our best. Thank you.